Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Voice Politics. Nicholas Rod here, Chris Baker here on this Monday morning. Now, Chris, do what we always do and kick this episode off with the weather.
In Los Angeles, California, it is sunny and 86. Houston, Texas is cloudy and 73. In Chicago, Illinois, it is cloudy and 50. In New York City, it is raining again for another Monday morning and 66. Well,
Grand.
it's a Monday,
It is a
so
Monday.
we are back for another Talk of the Talk. We didn't have one last week, so, I had to make sure we had one this week. And I'll be honest with you. I almost wanted to skip over it because there was nothing interesting.
Mm.
And then I found this study.
Oh, gosh.
Nick, do you know what next day anxieties are?
Probably not by explanation, but by experience, probably.
Okay. Well, there is this new study
Okay.
that in the recent years, there has been an increase in next day anxieties, where people are in bed, trying to go to sleep, and their mind is going a mile a minute of things that they have to do the next day.
Oh,
And
okay,
the
yeah.
study says 41% of Americans experience this every single night in some sort of fashion. Some nights it's, think about something, but then you can go to bed, and then other nights your brain is going
Mm-hmm.
in 1,000 different directions.
Right.
So, we know Nick on here, his life, he's like a surfer. Everything is great for Nick.
I wish.
So, do you have next day anxieties?
It's hard for me to say. I definitely don't get them like intensely every single day, but if I really think about it, they're probably existent, but I'm just so used to them at this point that they don't almost act like they used to. I don't know. It's somewhere in the middle for me. It's hard to say. But what about you?
Oh, 100% have it.
Mm,
And it's usually not for school, which the study did say school is a big one. I really don't have next day anxieties for school because, for being completely honest, school in the last month or two has kind of been like, meh.
mm-hmm.
So, like, Thursday, or no, sorry, Wednesday, we record on Thursday. So, Wednesday night, I was laying in bed, literally thinking, when am I going to make show notes? What are the show notes going to be looking like? How am I going to map it out? When am I going to make them? And what is going to be in it? What's out? What's going to Monday? Like, there's been nights where I'm just up an hour and a half figuring things out for the next day. And it's usually related to the business, 90% of the time.
Right. I do have anxieties when it comes to school. Obviously, we know on this show that I have a bit of a procrastination problem, especially when it comes to the
A
schoolwork.
bit, okay.
A. Um, especially when it comes to the schoolwork. And so I kind of work myself into corners, and that gets pretty rough after a while. I don't know. Sometimes it hits really hard. Other times it's just um kind of numbed, I guess I would say. But they're usually there in some capacity. I'd say those are probably my worst ones. I do get them for other things though, no doubt.
See, I think mine are more extreme than yours,
Probably. Mine used to be
but
really
that's probably
bad.
because I'm a planner and you just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, mind you, mine used to get really bad. But it's like I said, I kind of experienced them for such a long, consistent string of time, um, that I just kind of found a way to deal with them and just kind of roll with the punches, essentially. And so they don't affect me like they used to. It used to get really, really, really bad though, but definitely not as much anymore.
Well, I'm kind of curious to see if those anxieties, as you get older and you're in the workforce, if those increase or if they decrease. I have a feeling they increase, but I also think it depends on what kind of job you're in. Like if
Yeah,
you're in like
exactly.
a management position, I can see it, but I'm not discrediting um a grocery store worker, but I'm thinking like someone in that field compared to someone in a management position, their next day anxieties are different.
I'm sure I imagine that there could be a connection. I shouldn't say I'm sure of it. I can imagine there being a connection between um, job position and those next day anxieties, sorry. Um, and I also think it has to do with, like you said, what kind of person you are, planner versus kind of go with the flow and things like that. There has to be factors to it, I would think, to really make it better or worse.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. But that is the talk of the talk this week. So we both have next day anxieties. I wonder, 41%, when you first think about it, that seems awfully high, but I think it's kind of low,
Yeah, yeah.
especially in the times that we live in.
I was thinking about it as we were talking about it because, yeah, when you first said 41%, that felt a bit on the low end for me, but or a bit on the high end, sorry. But as our conversation continued, I was kind of going over it in my head, and I actually would imagine that it would be higher
Well,
for.
nevertheless, let's get into a COVID-19 update like we do every week. Nick, why don't you start us off?
All right, so for our COVID update this week, we have over 125 million people receiving at least their first shot to this point, and that is equal to more than 50% of adults across the country. The 7-day average for cases right now is about 68,500, and the 7-day average for deaths is right around 700.
Moderna has said they will be making a booster shot available in fall, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is still on pause.
You've probably heard a lot of noise from some House Democrats that they're going to send a bill forward that would introduce 4 additional justices to the Supreme Court. But it's important to understand here that the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, has already said that she's not going to allow that bill to even come to the floor of the House. We have a bit of that audio right here, and we'll play it now.
In answer to your question, I have no plans to bring it to the floor. No.
She didn't even give her full support of the idea either. She said it's not out of the question and the idea is worth studying. However, instead, she's going to put her support in the president's executive order to create the commission to study those issues. And if you remember, we did talk about that executive order on Friday.
Now, if you're wondering how the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, can say that it won't even make it to the floor, well, the answer is she's the House Speaker. Deciding the agenda and what comes to the floor of the House is at her sole discretion. That is the power of her office, and even after the commission is all over, if the bill somehow makes it to the House floor, it's a tough battle to pass the idea in both House and the Senate, especially with the Democrats' super slim majority in both the House and Senate. And currently, all Democrats are not on board with this idea either.
That's all we have on that. We move right along here to some discussion on rent. If you're struggling to pay your rent, it's like we've told you before, across the past 2 stimulus packages, Congress has allocated $50 billion for people struggling to pay their rent. This money can be used for current rent, past rent, or utilities. The trouble here mainly is that the states are in charge of distributing that money. And for some people, it can be hard to find. There's an organization that did take the guesswork out of it.
So you must understand that not everyone qualifies for rental assistance. You must reach these requirements. One or more of the individuals in the household qualifies for unemployment benefits, or one or more household members can demonstrate a significant hardship that is directly related to COVID-19, or one or more household members can demonstrate a risk of homelessness or housing instability, and your household income does not exceed 80% of the area median income. There is a priority group, it's 50% or below that gets first priority, and then it goes to 80% and below. Now, some states may have additional requirements as well. If you do qualify, just go to the link that is down in the show notes directly to the website and to get more information there and direct you to where you can get these benefits. And like I said, this is where you'll find a list and a map of all the state and local rental assistance programs available to you.
We switch focus again and look towards a shooting that happened in Chicago. This happened on March 29th. Adam Toledo was shot by police. On Thursday evening, police released body cam footage, and we got a better picture of what happened on that morning. Police responded to a 2:40 a.m. call of shots fired. 19 seconds after the police officer responded, Toledo was shot. Toledo appeared to hide a gun behind the fence before turning to face police. 21-year-old Robin Romson was with Toledo and is suspected of being the one that fired the gun. Since Thursday, there's been intense protest in Chicago for police reform.
Unfortunately, in keeping with this topic, Friday morning there was a deadly shooting in Indianapolis at a FedEx facility, and the gunman killed 8 people and injured 5 others before taking his own life. Police have said he had some sort of a rifle that was purchased legally, and the police believe he took his own life before police even entered the FedEx facility. Now, some people say that there was a delay in police response because of a FedEx protocol of you need to leave your cell phones in the locker rooms. But nevertheless, the family of the gunman did release a statement Saturday evening saying, "We are devastated at the loss of life caused as a result of Brandon's actions. Through the love of his family, we tried to get him the help he needed." They go on to say, "Our sincerest and most heartfelt apology go out to the victims of this senseless tragedy. We are so sorry for the pain and hurt being felt by their families and the entire Indianapolis community." This is still a developing story, obviously, and we will keep you up to date on the latest with this story.
This brings us to the end of the main news portion of the episode, and we have rapid news for you. Just one headline to give, and that is that there's a new law in New York directed towards those who have a low income that would allow them to get internet for just $15 a month.
Nick, what's your Monday morning good news story for us?
All right, so today I have quite the story, honestly. There was a woman who had been a teacher for 17 years, but then decided that it was time to change her career path, change what she was doing in her life. So she started her own charity. It's called Roots for Boots, and it's aimed towards helping veterans. And she's done, honestly, some amazing things. One of the main parts of the charity is that they hold a monthly food drive. And when it first started, they were helping about 8 to 10 veterans. Now they support about 90 veterans, and they require dozens of volunteers, a lot of which are veterans themselves. And it doesn't even stop there either. She's helped out with a bunch of individual projects for these people. She helped build a ramp for one man with a prosthetic leg. She helped another veteran get a track wheelchair, and she helped another build a deck on his house. So, and she said she makes zero money off of this charity, and she gives it all towards helping these veterans. And this story just straight up blew me away.
So essentially, she's like a jack of all trades here. She does the main portion, and then she builds a ramp, helps with purchasing a wheelchair. Like, she's a jack of all trades.
She's done so much, the food drive, the ramp, the deck, the chair, putting this much effort forward to help these people. It's amazing. She said how, she doesn't make a penny off of it, but she feels like the richest person in the world just for being able to do what she does.
I love that statement. I don't make a penny off of it, but I feel like the richest person in the world. I really like that. That's a really good ending point.
Yeah.
Because that's something for, so many people to think about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But that is the end of this quick Monday morning episode. There really wasn't much developing news over the weekend. I hope everyone has a good start to their Monday morning. We will see you back here Wednesday for another Dumb Law. As usual, you know what to do by now. Follow us on our Blind Boys Politics Twitter account for the latest 24-hour breaking news so you're always in the know. Follow us on our personal accounts to see what we're up to. Check out Nick's new vocal cover on his YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe. But until Wednesday morning, see ya.
Later, guys.